Akhenaten, pronounced Auknaten, also spelled Akhenaton or Akhenaten, ancient Egyptian, QNJT Enrikinqftkai, pronounced meaning effective for the Aten, was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh reigning c. 1353 to 1336 or 1351 to 1334 BC, the 10th ruler of the 18th dynasty before the 5th year of his reign. He was known as Amenhotep IV, ancient Egyptian, JMNTP, meaning Amen is satisfied, Hellenized as Amenhotep IV, pharaoh. Reign 1353 to 1336 BC, 1351 to 1330 for Bakriti Sesarumt Isachesar. Smenkhare referred to Akhenaten as the enemy or that criminal. In archival records, Akhenaten was all but lost to history until the late 19th century discovery of Amarna, or Akhetaten, the new capital city he built for the worship of Aten. Furthermore, in 1907, a mummy that could be Akhenaten's was unearthed from the tomb KV55 in the Valley of the Kings by Edward R. Ayrton. Genetic testing has determined that the man buried in KV55 was Tutankhamun's father, but its identification as Akhenaten has since been questioned. Akhenaten's rediscovery and Flinders Petrie's early excavations at Amarna sparked great public interest in the pharaoh and his queen Nefertiti. He has been described as enigmatic, mysterious, revolutionary, the greatest idealist of the world, and the first individual in history, but also as a heretic, fanatic, possibly insane, and mad. Public and scholarly fascination with Akhenaten comes from his connection with Tutankhamun, the unique style and high quality of the pictorial arts he patronized, and the religion he attempted to establish. Foreshadowing monotheism, the future Akhenaten was born Amenhotep, a younger son of Pharaoh Amenhotep III and his principal wife Tai. Akhenaten had an elder brother, Crown Prince Thutmose, who was recognized as Amenhotep III's heir. Akhenaten also had 4 or 5 sisters: Sitamun, Henneteneb, Isit, Nebeta, and possibly Bekhetaten. Thutmose's early death, perhaps around Amenhotep III's 30th regnal year, meant that Akhenaten was next in line for Egypt's throne. Akhenaten was married to Nefertiti, his great royal wife. The exact timing of their marriage is unknown, but inscriptions from the pharaoh's building projects suggest that they married either shortly before or after Akhenaten took the throne. For example, Egyptologist Dimitri Labouri suggests that the marriage took place in Akhenaten's 4th regnal year. A secondary wife of Akhenaten named Kia is also known from inscriptions. Some Egyptologists theorize that she gained her importance as the mother of Tutankhamun. William Mernon proposes that Kia is the colloquial name of the Mitanni princess Tatukipa, daughter of the Mitanni king Tushratta, who had married Amenhotep III before becoming the wife of Akhenaten. Akhenaten's other attested consorts are the daughter of the Anasazi ruler Zadiah and another daughter of the Babylonian king Bernabariash II. Akhenaten could have had 7 or 8 children. Based on inscriptions, Egyptologists are fairly certain about his 6 daughters, who are well attested in contemporary depictions. Among his 6 daughters, Meritaten was born in regnal year 1 or 5, Mekhetaten in year 4 or 6, Ankhesenpaten, later queen of Tutankhamun, before year 5 or 8, Neferneferuiten Tashret in year 8 or 9, Nefernefer in year 9 or 10, and Setepener in year 10 or 11. Tutankhamun, born Tutankhaten, was most likely Akhenaten's son, with Nefertiti or another wife. There is less certainty around Akhenaten's relationship with Smenkhare, Akhenaten's corregent or successor and husband to his daughter Meritaten. He could have been Akhenaten's eldest son with an unknown wife or Akhenaten's younger brother. Some historians, such as Edward Wendt and James Allen, have proposed that Akhenaten took some of his daughters as wives or sexual consorts to father a male heir. While this is debated, some historical parallels exist. Akhenaten's father Amenhotep III married his daughter Sitamun, while Ramesses II married 2 or more of his daughters, even though their marriages might simply have been ceremonial. In Akhenaten's case, His oldest daughter Meritaten is recorded as great royal wife to Smenkhare, but is also listed on a box from Tutankhamun's tomb alongside Pharaoh's Akhenaten, and Nefertiti as great royal wife. Additionally, letters written to Akhenaten from foreign rulers make reference to Meritaten as mistress of the house. Egyptologists in the early 20th century also believed that Akhenaten could have fathered a child. With his second oldest daughter Mekhetaten's death at perhaps age 10 to 12 is recorded in the royal tombs at Akhenaten from around regnal years 13 or 14. Early Egyptologists attribute her death to childbirth because of the depiction of an infant in her tomb, because no husband is known for Mekhetaten. The assumption had been that Akhenaten was the father. Adon Dodson believes this to be unlikely, as no Egyptian tomb has been found that mentions or alludes to the cause of death of the tomb owner. Further, Jacobus van Dijk proposes that the child is a portrayal of Mekhetaten's soul. 50. Finally, various monuments, originally for Kia, were reinscribed for Akhenaten's daughters Meritaten and Ankhesenpatan. The revised inscriptions list a Meritaten Tashret Jr. and an Ankhesenpatan Tashret, according to some. This indicates that Akhenaten fathered his own grandchildren. Others hold that, since these grandchildren are not attested to elsewhere, they are fictions invented to fill the space originally portraying Kia's child. Egyptologists know very little about Akhenaten's life. As Prince Amenhotep, Donald B. Redford dates his birth before his father Amenhotep III's 25th regnal year, c. 1363 to 1361 BC. Based on the birth of Akhenaten's first daughter, who was likely born fairly early in his own reign, the only mention of his name as the king's son Amenhotep was found on a wine docket at Amenhotep III's Malkata Palace, where some historians suggested Akhenaten was born. Others contend that he was born at Memphis, where growing up he was influenced by the worship of the sun god Ra practiced at nearby Heliopolis. Redford and James K. Hoffmeyer state, however, that Ra's cult was so widespread and established throughout Egypt that Akhenaten could have been influenced by solar worship. Even if he did not grow up around Heliopolis, some historians have tried to determine who was Akhenaten's tutor during his youth, and have proposed scribes Hekareshu or Merir II, the royal tutor Amenhotep, or the vizier April. The only person who we know for certain served the prince was Queennefer, whose tomb mentions this fact. Egyptologist Cyril Aldred suggests that Prince Amenhotep might have been a high priest of Ptah in Memphis, although no evidence supporting this had been found. It is known that Amenhotep's brother, Crown Prince Thutmose, served in this role before he died. If Amenhotep inherited all his brother's roles in preparation for his accession to the throne, he might have become a high priest in Thutmose's stead. Aldred proposes that Akhenaten's unusual artistic inclinations might have been formed during his time serving Ptah, the patron god of craftsmen, whose high priests were sometimes referred to as the greatest of the directors of craftsmanship. There is much controversy around whether Amenhotep IV ascended to Egypt's throne on the death of his father Amenhotep III, or whether there was a coregency lasting perhaps as long as 12 years. Eric Klein, Nicholas Reeves, Peter Dorman, and other scholars argue strongly against the establishment of a long coregency between the two rulers, and in favor of either no coregency or one lasting at most 2 years. Donald B. Redford, William J. Mernon, Alan Gardner, and Lawrence Berman contest the view of any coregency whatsoever between Akhenaten and his father. Most recently, in 2014, archaeologists found both pharaohs' names inscribed on the wall of the Luxor tomb of Vizier Amenhotep I. The Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities called this conclusive evidence that Akhenaten shared power with his father for at least 8 years, based on the dating of the tomb. However, this conclusion has since been called into question by other Egyptologists, according to whom the inscription only means that construction on Amenhotep I's tomb started during Amenhotep III's reign and ended under Akhenaten's, and Amenhotep I thus simply wanted to pay his respects to both rulers. the first part of information about King Amenhotep IV Akhenaten has ended, and we will meet you in the second part. Goodbye.